What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Lucas here. Counterpunch Pod, ready to break down UFC Vegas 98, UFC Apex 98, whatever you want to call it. If you're new to these, again, my name is Lucas. His name to the side of me is Rohan.
What's up?
We're here at the Apex again. It's honestly hard for me to get excited for these cards. Speaking of, I've got a short dropping tomorrow morning about why the fuck the UFC hasn't moved out of the Apex yet. It's kind of ridiculous. It seems like this
Yeah,
cycled event over and over with the same fucking fighters. But at the end of the day, we have fights, Rohan, so you can't be too upset. But before I get into that, Rohan, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really well, man. I'm still kind of buzzing off that last freaking fight that we just got to witness. Alex Pereira, once again, I mean, he continues his historic run. What a performance that was over Khalil. And yeah, I mean, this month of fights is just going to be great. I like this. I like this card a lot. I think it has a lot of fun, potential on there. And then obviously, down the line, we still got so many bangers to look forward to this month, 308. So yeah, I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I'm all right, man. Yeah, UFC 307 was the main event. At least was pretty sick. It was a little slow leading up to it. We had that Aldo Batista fight, which wasn't the best, but if Aldo got the nod, I would have been pretty happy. But he kind of got robbed. Same with the co-main event, Pennington Pena, which I actually thought, I thought that was going to be a horrible fight. There were some exciting moments, I guess, but another robbery, which seemed like the tail of the tape on the whole card, and then the main event just. We see Pereira have some adversity early. Roundtree,
Yeah.
shots, having some success, which not many people expected, like you and I. But at the end of the day, Pereira came through round 4 finish, and yeah, he's still the man at 205. Looks really good at 205, much better than he did at 185. But his next matchups aren't going to be that easy, so I'm curious to see what's next. And he's only getting older. I believe he's going to be 38 soon. He's trying to stay active and not wait for fights and whatnot. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. Let's get into this card. Again, UFC Vegas 98. I said it at the top. It just seems like we're watching the same card over and over again with these Apex cards. But regardless, I think the entire card is so fucking shit. But the main event is awesome. Like, I love this main event. I just wish this was in front of a crowd.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, this main event it deserves a crowd. I mean, they're gonna put on a show for sure. No matter who wins this fight, it's gonna be entertaining. And the fact that it's gonna be in the Apex with those random cheers here and there on each side, it's just gonna be a little boring. But and the card itself is not the best, like you just mentioned. So they really need to figure this Apex stuff out. It doesn't make sense. It's very outdated. But nonetheless, let's get into these fights.
Real quick, I don't know if it's your AirPod or not, but you sound a little bit muffled. You want to try taking it out? Just your audio.
Yeah, hold on.
You're good. In the meantime, we'll look at the comments. I was gonna go all in on Beast Boy, and then they called the fucking fight off. I spent so much time on that, but you're muted.
Is my audio better?
So much better. So much better.
All right, cool.
There we go. Yeah, and it's so sad that Beast Boy pulled out.
Yeah, I mean, a much more favorable matchup for Justin Tafa now, or Junior Tafa, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, that would have been fun. Like I said, another spot that would have been for Beast Boy to pull off an upset as an underdog, because I mean, I swear he always comes in as the underdog and kind of puts on a show for himself. So that was another good spot for him, but it's unfortunate that we gotta wait to see him. No.
I thought he was gonna get absolutely fucking destroyed, to be honest.
I don't know, man. Like those Tafa bros are very,
on the ground, they're horrible, but Chris Barnett's gonna strike, and he had like an 8-inch height disadvantage. I thought he was gonna get brutalized. I'm kind of happy that fight's not happening, to be honest. I was gonna get killed, but whatever. I mean, it's been like 2 years now since last time he fought. I know he had a lot of shit going on in his personal life. And now the reason he pulled out is because the hurricane, which obviously is understandable.
Yeah, that's just beyond his control. That sucks.
But yeah, it's sad. It's sad. Good that you didn't go all in on Beast Boy, though. Tell me the NHL score. We're doing a fucking podcast. What do you think? I'm not your fucking scoreboard. What do you think this shit is? Let's get into this, Rohan. Let's get into this. I'm going to share my screen on the Tapology, and we'll start breaking down these fights. Give me 1 second. Boom. and we're good to go. There you go. You can see my screen.
Yep.
Cool. Let's get into it. First fight of the night. Speaking of the Tafa, bro, Junior Tafa versus Sean Sharaf. I'm gonna be completely honest. They announced this fight today.
Yeah, I saw.
I watched one fight of Sharaf, and he looks like a redneck. He's all right at fighting. It's gonna be a war for one round. He might catch Tafa. He's gonna have 2 or 3 minutes of cardio. This guy. It's gonna go away. He has 2 or 3 minutes. Sharaf stepping in on a few days' notice. He has 2 or 3 minutes to finish this fight. And if he doesn't get it, Tafa's gonna knock him out. Tafa can knock him out whenever. I mean, if Sharaf leaves an opening early, Tafa's gonna get him there. But it's more likely that Tafa finds the finish as the fight goes on. Yeah, I mean, I say this all the time. There's some fights that have specific details that you have to go over to truly break down. This is a heavyweight, sloppy war. Like they're gonna go to war. It's not gonna be much technique involved. If anything, there's gonna be much more technique from Tafa. Sharaf's a brawler. He's gonna go in there and fucking throw bombs and pray for a knockout. And will he do it? I don't think so. Actually, I thought Tafa was going to be a little bit taller than Sharaf, but they're about the same height. I'm actually curious to see the weigh-ins. Not always is the height on Tapology exactly accurate, but we'll see. I do think Tafa knocks him out. He's gotten more experience, although he's only had, like 3 fights, 3 fights in the UFC. I think he wins by knockout in the first round. What do you got?
Yeah, it's tough to pick against Junior Tafa here. Obviously, a short notice opponent here, and I mean, judging off the tape, there's not much to Sharaf's game. I mean, like he's very generic on the feet. I mean, he trains at a good gym. I think he's now, Extreme Couture. He's training, with the guys like Luke Rockhold. I saw he was training with that kickboxer Rico Verhoeven. So he's training with some good guys. But like you said, coming out on short notice in heavyweight division, the odds that his cardio is going to be able to withstand the heat in the later rounds is very low. And I just think Tafa's so much more conditioned at this point in his career. Obviously, he's already been in training camp. He was preparing for a fight, and I think he's going to just carry that momentum and be the fresher guy in here. Obviously, he's going to have to worry about the the range and the knockout power early on because Sharaf does have, that brawling, just, ability to make the fight dirty and potentially score a finish. But you could say that on either side in this fight. And like you said, later in the round, or later, excuse me, in the fight is where Tafa is going to start to pull away, I think, and definitely show his levels in the striking department. So I think Tafa's the safer pick. And yeah, I think if we're going to see a finish in this fight, it definitely comes on his side.
Yeah, I mean, I think this fight finishes under 1.5 without a doubt, honestly, either way. And I'm curious. I know the fight just got announced today, and I think the line literally came out about an hour ago. So I don't think there are props yet. Yeah, no, there's not. Actually, no, the under 1.5 is there, minus 280. I honestly think that's a parlay piece. Someone's getting knocked out early. It's gonna be a fucking war. But yeah, not a lot to say about this fight. Shout out to everybody in here, by the way. 13 of you guys between YouTube and Twitter just started up, so we appreciate the love. The shorts have been doing really well on YouTube, so if you're from the shorts, shout out to y'all, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, speaking of just recycled Apex fighters, I mean, Corey McKenna.
No.
One of the shortest reaches in UFC history, 58.5-inch reach. She's here taking on Julia Palastri. It's like, I love this sport, guys. Don't get me wrong. I love it with my heart. I think MMA is the best sport of the world. I think UFC is the best league in the world. But I don't care. Like, you want to go for it? I'm sorry. I literally.
I mean, yeah, this is a very low level women's fight, and the problem here for me is that there's no discrepancy between the two. Like Corey McKenna and Julia Palastri are both kind of the similar styled fighters. They're going to come forward and look to grapple. I think Palastri is probably the cleaner grappler between the two. McKenna is a little more just all over the place, a little reckless with her entries. And like you said, that reach is it puts her at a big disadvantage on the feet. So I think Palastri is definitely going to have a bit of an advantage just in the striking department, given her reach advantage and her height advantage here. She does have a good kicking game, and I think that'll come in handy. And it's going to be tougher for McKenna to get her down, in my opinion. I just think Palastri's better. in the grappling department. She's a better chain wrestler. She's better even against the fence, defending the takedowns. And I think that, yeah, ultimately, I think in a matchup between two grapplers where it's just clear where one has the advantage, I've got to pick Pilastri just based off what I've seen. I've been more impressed with her. But I mean, again, this is a very low level fight. I mean, Pilastri hasn't really faced the best competition. I think you could say that McKenna's faced better talent maybe. But I mean, a loss to Elise Reed doesn't look good. She got killed by Jacqueline Emery very easily. Yeah, this is a nothing fight, but I'm going to pick Pilastri.
Yeah, it's a nothing fight. I mean, Pilastri had that fight against Knudsen, who I actually think is pretty good.
Yeah, Knudsen's pretty good.
She went around. I don't know. McKenna is a fighter that's always improving, but it just, that last fight against Amorim, I actually predicted Amorim to win that fight when everybody was going with McKenna as a slight favor. I went Amorim because, McKenna, she's a wrestler. You can't wrestle against somebody like Amorim who's going to fucking sub you in an instant. And that's exactly what happened. She beat Cheyenne Bays. She beat, a bunch of bums. She lost to Elise Reed, as you mentioned. Yeah, I don't have a good read. She's young. She's always making improvements, but I don't have a good read on her. Training at a good gym in Team Alpha Male. She's taking on Julia Pilastri, who's also like a whatever fighter. It's going to be a very, 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 very close fight that goes the distance. If I go and look at the odds, like this fight is going the fucking distance. Without a doubt in my mind, this fight is going the distance. I'm not betting on a money line in this fight because I'd rather kill myself than do that. But what's the odds? Even like even minus 375 for the fight to go the distance. I think that's an amazing parlay piece. I think it's an amazing, like I'd throw that in with.
Yeah, I don't see a finish on either side.
I'd throw that in with like a Taira or Timurov, like maybe Junior Tafa money line when he was taking on Barnett. Like that's a great parlay piece in my eyes. But picking this fight, like I'd rather shoot myself in the fucking head. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to say. There's not much. It's two fighters with similar styles. Like it's gonna go the distance, low, very, very low level. Like I don't know. There's not much to say.
Yeah, there's not much more to say. We can move on.
Yeah, we got whoever the fuck this is in the chat saying y'all should be discussing Jamal Hill's iconic yawn. Gave me chills knowing how scared Pereira is of a rematch. I'm with you. I know Pereira is scared of Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill would knock Pereira out. I'm obviously joking. I did think Jamal Hill was going to win that first fight if he had half a brain and decided to wrestle, but of course he didn't. Let's move on. Dan Argueta versus Cody Haddon. Let's talk about some exciting fights. It's going to be a good fight. Cody Haddon fought 4 weeks ago in the Contender Series, 4 or 5 weeks ago, and actually looked pretty good. Got a round 1 finish against Billy Brand, a guy that fought Peyton Talbot back in the day. He's good. He's a very well-rounded fighter. This is a guy that fought Steve Erceg back in, I think, like 2017 or 2018, something like that. Lost that fight, but it was a close fight. He's very, very well-rounded. And he's the minus 185. Tapology says minus 185. That's usually like from a day ago. He's sitting at like minus 180, minus 175. And I do think that line will, slowly start to come down. I agree with that. I'm actually going to pick Argueta to win the fight. I mean, it's a very, very close fight, but I'm going to be betting on Argueta just because the line. Argueta, I mean, to have your debut against Argueta is going to be a problem, unless you're Jean Matsumoto, who locked up a guillotine choke, but he was getting dominated for that entire fight up until that moment. Argueta is not going to stop. He's going to pressure you, and he's going to fucking spam takedowns, and he's not going to get tired. And I feel like Haddon beats Argueta if he gets tired, and I just don't, Argueta's nickname, the Determined. He's not going to stop until he gets you down a multitude of times. He's going to chain wrestle you until you fucking give up. And against a debuting fighter, I'm going to take that veteran, that grizzled vet who's going to fight the perfect game plan all day, every day. He could definitely get knocked out, could definitely get finished in the first round. But I'm going to say he avoids that, mixes in the wrestling like he always does. This guy is a fucking psychopath in the octagon. A very exciting wrestler, I really think he is, just because he goes for so many takedowns. Like it's constant action. I'm going to pick Argueta to win the fight at big plus money. Yeah. What do you got?
Yeah, excuse me. I'm gonna go the other way here. I think Dan Argueta, I see exactly what you're saying about him, and he is one of those kind of Marab, if you will, kind of wrestlers where he just does not stop. His gas tank knows no limits, and he's just gonna keep coming forward no matter what. But like I guess the Matsumoto fight was kind of the fraud check he needed, but the Miles Johns fight I was not impressed. I think he even got clipped in that fight and was rocked really bad and came back and kind of survived. But yeah, I don't think he's faced a striker as good as Cody Haddon. I mean, I'm looking at his record: Ronnie Lawrence, Nick Aguirre, Damon Jackson. I'm not seeing anybody with the technicality of Haddon that he just showed on the Contender Series. That boxing of his is very, very crisp, and I just think you're right about the matchup in your UFC debut. Kind of short notice situation. Like, it's tough to face somebody like Argetta, who's not going to stop, and you know what he's going to come forward, and it's still hard and try to do, and it's still hard to stop him. But I do think that Haddon has enough dexterity in his game to be able to deal with some of those takedowns early enough. And man, there are going to be so many opportunities for him to counter and land clean shots to get a big ass chin. And I know he's going to eat a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. Like, this guy is very, very tough. But man, I just see that I see Haddon as a very well-rounded, composed fighter. I don't think he's going to panic in there if the going gets tough, like somebody like a Miles Johns, who doesn't really have much of a striking background to lean on. I think Haddon has a really, really nice base to his striking, and I think that's going to come in handy down the stretch. I think, like, you're right, he's going to have to withstand that heat, but I think he can do it, and I've just been impressed with the tape, and I think he's going to score a finish. So I'm on the other side, but I'll take Haddon here inside the distance.
Yeah, no, I usually will go back and forth here, but I get what you're saying 100%. Argetta does leave openings, but he's also very tough. I mean, he didn't get finished by Miles Johns, who, Johns won that fight. Judges, the ref raised his hand, but he tested positive for steroids after, and he didn't get finished.
That was one of your calls. Did you call that before it happened? Because
I'm telling you, Rowan, like, you think I fucking troll when I say certain fighters are on steroids.
Hey, man, that was a good call.
They're on the fucking roids. Some get caught, some don't. The majority don't get caught, Rowan. I know you don't believe it, but it's true.
No, there's definitely some. You're right. You got to be right about some.
Miles Johns, obviously on the juice. That guy's like a fucking ball of fucking PEDs. And he got caught. Good. Pack that boy up, although he's still in the fucking UFC, which makes no sense. But I get what you're saying 100%. Argetta's going to leave openings. Will Haddon be able to knock him out? I just don't know. It's tough. The one thing I will disagree with is that you said Argetta's never fought a striker like Haddon. He actually fought Myron Santos a few years ago on LFA, who's now in the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter champ, who I think is one of the best strikers of not of all time, in the division right now. But I believe that was a 135-pound fight, and this is and now Santos is 145. I do think Santos is an amazing striker, but I do think he cut a lot of weight there and was kind of drained out. He got finished late. But yeah, I just think Argetta puts the pressure on, gets the win, but I 100% get what you're saying. There's a reason that Haddon's a favorite, but we're going to go opposite sides here. I'm on Argetta. Rohan is on Haddon. Let's move on. Next fight on the card. We've got, I'm lost. There we are. It was a fun fight, actually. Jonathan Pierce versus Pat Sabatini. This is an interesting one. Pierce is the favorite. That's interesting. Was Sabatini's last fight the Lopez fight?
Yeah. No, that was the last one.
Was his last fight. Got knocked out against Diego Lopez. Obviously a much different style, considering JSP does not have Diego Lopez type power, but we know what JSP is going to do. He's going to go out there. He's going to spam takedowns. He's going to put on a crazy pace. And Sabatini's another guy who is a very, very dangerous grappler. It's just, will he be able to, who's going to be more physical here? I mean, I feel like the more physical fighter is Sabatini. The physically stronger fighter is Sabatini, but will he be able to deal with the pace of Pierce? I don't know. It was a really, really, really tough fight to call for me. I'll let you go first prediction-wise here. I got to think. I'll hear what you say.
I think you were right on the money there with what you were just saying. I think they're similar style fighters. Once again, Jonathan Pierce, he leans on sort of the dirtier wrestling game. But Sabatini, honestly, is the cleaner wrestler between the two. If you're just talking about technicality, who's better at chain wrestling, getting the fight to the ground and doing work down there, I think Sabatini probably has the advantage. But Pierce is longer. He's, you know, a little more creative with the way he enters the pocket, with the way he closes distance. So I think it's going to be a lot of things for Sabatini to think about. But like you said, who's going to be the more physical guy? I think Pierce relies a lot on those just those wild exchanges on the ground where he's in a scramble, he forces a scramble and somehow gets to the back or somehow gets on top, and there he's able to start landing his ground and pound. But on the feet, he's really sloppy. He leaves a lot of openings. Sabatini actually didn't even look. I mean, it's Lopez in hindsight, a great loss. You know, like that loss ate beautifully, and he didn't look terrible on the feet for as long as it lasted. I think like there's going to be a chance for Sabatini to put some takedowns of his own together, put some pressure on Pierce. Obviously, Pierce is going to put some pressure on Sabatini as well, and this will go back and forth. I think both fighters are going to have their moment, but ultimately, man, I agree. I think Sabatini is a little better at controlling his opponent when they get on the ground, and I think he's going to be better at just consistently being able to wear on Pierce and getting him in tough positions where it's tough for him to get out. And yeah, I don't know. I can see a very close decision here, but I don't know why the odds are what is it, -1? What is Pierce? He's not
Yeah,
that
I
good.
mean, I'm gonna go Pierce. I mean, you know, it says right there Pierce -130. He's now moved to -170.
Mm.
Um, I don't think that's warranted, but I'll pick him to win. I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna pick Pierce to win. I just feel like his back's against the wall here. I mean, coming off two rough losses. I mean, Burrito, he was dominating that fight and got choked out. That was kind of unfortunate, but that's a loss that's kind of aged well considering he was winning that fight. And then lost to David Onama in a fight that he could have arguably won. I just feel like his back's against the wall here. I think Pierce is just more talented. And I just, you know, I'm always gonna side with the cardio and pace guy, but it's a closer fight than -180 Pierce. I feel like that's kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, I know Sabatini's probably the stronger guy, but does strength really matter when you're
I just
getting
think
drowned?
he's the better wrestler. I mean, if you
I
look
just
at
don't
the
see that. I don't see Sabatini finishing the fight. That's the thing. And if Sabatini doesn't have finishing potential, what's going to happen later in the fight? I think he's going to slowly start to, you know, give out. So I'll go Pierce. What were you saying?
It's fair. It's fair that's fair. But I just think ultimately, if you're talking about earlier in the fight, those early rounds, who's going to do the better work? I think Sabatini is a cleaner boxer. He's a cleaner, more put together striker, and he's a better wrestler. Clearly, I mean, if you're talking about chain wrestling, he's a better wrestler than Jonathan Pierce. I mean, Pierce does have a way of getting the fight to the ground, but it's a very unorthodox way. And I think Sabatini's style is a lot more reliable. So that's why I think yeah, I don't know. I think the odds, the line should be closer is the only thing, but I think it could definitely be a split decision type of situation for sure because both of them are very you know, good at implementing their styles. So yeah.
I wouldn't say Sabatini is clearly a better striker. I mean, he did get knocked out by a front kick against Damon Jackson. That was one of the most embarrassing finish losses I've seen in my life.
Yeah, but I mean, Pierce's boxing is very bad, man. That's all I'll say about it. He's got good kicks and good length, but his boxing is very bad. I think Sabatini's a little better on with the boxing, but that's just that. I mean, we're nitpicking at stuff here. Regardless, we're going on the other side. It doesn't really matter. It's a close
Very
fight.
true. At the end of the day, in a close fight like this, I'll just side with the cardio guy, and that's Pierce. And yeah, Elijah Johnson in the chat. What's going on, Elijah? Uh, Pat by rear naked choke. Lock it in.
I like that. I
I'm
like
gonna
that
bet
a
on
lot.
every single option that's not that, just because you said that. But I bet on fucking Pat by armbar, not rear naked choke. All right, let's move on. Next fight on the card, we have CJ Vergara taking on the debuting Ramazan Tamarov. Is that right? Tamarov.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love fading CJ Vergara. I haven't watched too much Tamarov, but I think he's pretty good. Um, I love fading CJ Vergara, especially like right now. This is the perfect time to throw Tamarov in a parlay. CJ Vergara has no takedown defense. I put a Sue Amabaya, that big juice, in so many fucking parlays. It off because Vergara is just he's not good at anything. Like all he has is cardio. That's it. Yeah, Tamarov is gonna out wrestle this guy for 3 rounds. Will he find a finish? I don't think so because Vergara is very durable. Tamarov decision. You can get Tamarov at right now. Right now the odds -350. Tamarov decision is what I'm looking at as a straight bet, and you can get that at -105. I think that's a great bet. Tamarov's going to dominate this fight. Also, Tamarov -3.5 point spread. I don't know what it is. Probably another good straight bet. Vergara sucks. He has bad ground game, bad striking. He's bad everywhere. He literally just has cardio, and that's how he's winning fights. I mean, against a guy in Salvador who is low volume, against Lacerda, who was zero cardio, against Clayton Rodriguez, who was horrible takedown defense. I mean, he's not going to be able to capitalize on anything against Tamarov. Tamarov is going to dominate this guy. I think he wins, but I don't think he finishes Vergara because he has cardio and he's pretty durable. That's all I got to say. What do you got?
Yeah, I basically 100% agree with that assessment. I think excuse me, I got a little cough, so don't mind that. But Temirov, I think, is just he's a beast, man. He's gonna come forward and he's very explosive. He's a very explosive athlete. I think that's the one big advantage for him in this fight. Vergara is just not that explosive an athlete. He's got his moments, like he has nice leg kicks, solid, wrestling, if that. But nah, I mean, he's got no advantages in this fight. I think Temirov even is live for a knockout, but I get that Vergara is very tough. But I mean, this guy, he's got a bunch of first round finishes. He is really, really dangerous just because of excuse me, how compact he is. I mean, he is very compact. He darts in with these big shots, obviously trying to close the distance to get the fight down as well. And he'll have plenty of opportunities to do that because, like you said, Vergara's grappling and his wrestling is just not up there with the best in the division. I think this is a clear victory for Temirov. And like you said, great parlay piece, great, -3.5 point spread. I think he dominates, just like you said, all 3 rounds. There's not many paths to victory at all for CJ in this fight.
Yeah, the CJ fade continues. I've made so much money betting on or against him. I remember, you remember that Lacerda fight, right? We were watching. That was one of the first fights that we watched together. And I was telling you before that CJ Vergara is going to dominate this guy because Lacerda gasses out. And, there were some scary moments. He almost got finished, but all he needed to do was survive that first 2 minutes, and he'd take over. Our boy Rohan is really going through the fucking motions right now. Are you all right, bro? He's gone. He's sick. He's too sick to talk, folks. But for now, we'll move on to the next fight on the card. We have, it's a good fight, Clayton Carpenter versus Lucas Roja. It's a fight that's actually going to be all right. You all right?
I'm good.
He's good. Yeah, you're holding back pain right now.
I'm good. I'm good.
You're right.
I'm good.
You're right. The chat's worried about you. Yeah, see? They're accusing you of being on drugs.
No. I'm literally, I was running around all day today. It's cold outside now in Syracuse. It's starting to get 40 degrees. I'm sick.
Wow, way to dox us.
Huh?
Good job. Good job doxing us.
Oh yeah, I did dox us, but everybody knows where we go to school at this point if they watch. If you're a regular viewer of the Counterpunch pod, you understand, he's always got the hat. Come on now.
Amen. Obviously just joking. Yeah, Rohan is not on drugs. Please stop with that. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the dog here, Lucas Rocha. It's another close fight, but I think that Rocha's Contender Series fight against Davi Bittencourt, I think Bittencourt is really good. I mean, that guy's wrestling is insane. Like that first round against Rocha, that pace he was putting on was insane. And he kind of slowed down heading into that second round, but I still think like if he didn't get knocked out, he probably would have won that fight 29-28. But he got caught by a brutal knee, perfectly timed by Rocha. And I think this is a close fight. I think Carpenter will find some success striking, mixing in the wrestling. But Rocha is he's not going to go away. I don't think anybody gets finished in this fight. Again, another bet I'm looking at. Fight goes the distance. It's tough for me to pick. I think this is a 50-50 fight, but because the line, I'll side with Rocha. But, 0. Yeah, fight goes the distance, and this fight is -1. That's a hammer. -105, over 2.5, -135. I'll probably just take the over 2.5, -135. I think that's both these guys are so dark. I don't get that. Like Rocha, yeah, he's been knocked out once in his career. It was in 2019. Like whatever. He's a much better fighter. And Clayton Carpenter isn't some sort of knockout artist. I think this fight, that's my bet. I think this fight goes the distance. I guess I'll side with Carpenter, but all the value here is on. No, I'm gonna side with Rocha. I'm gonna side with Rocha. I feel like Carpenter doesn't have the best control. I feel like we saw Rocha struggle big time in that round 1 against Bittencourt. Carpenter has better cardio than Bittencourt, so it'll probably be harder for Rocha to find a power shot. When Carpenter starts to slow down, I don't think that'll happen as easy as Bittencourt. Kind of faded away in their fight, but I do feel like we'll see a damage-based decision. Maybe go to Rocha. It's such a close fight. I'll be looking at props here, not betting the line. What do you got, Rohan?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I definitely think that there's going to be paths for Rocha to land. Like you said, he's going to be looking. He's going to be hunting for that big shot. Like he landed. He landed it on Bittencourt, and it's always tough when you're dealing with guys that are so unpredictable like that. You never know what they're going to pull out. But I do think that Carpenter is the more technical guy. I am usually the one, if you guys are regular viewers, to side with the guy that I just believe is more technical and well-rounded. And you talked about the cardio. I think that could come into play here. But the control time in that first round, he was really getting taken down kind of at will. And I just think that Carpenter has like enough of a grappling advantage in this fight to be able to score some points. Obviously, you can say that the judges can look at the damage in this fight, and they have been doing a better job of that, I guess. Not really. But because, if you look at that don't get me started on the Aldo, man. But I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Carpenter to just win minutes in this fight, whether it's with his cleaner striking and distance management, and his activity level later in the fight, and then the wrestling if he chooses to mix it in. Like, he doesn't have to, but I think it's definitely a smart route for him to try to use the grappling in the second, third round. So I'm going to side with the safer pick here again. I just think, the big shot is going to be there for Rocha. Carpenter's not like you said, he's not some striking wizard. There's going to be a lot of holes in his game on the feet. But I just think overall he's a little more well-rounded, and I'm going to side with him.
Yeah, 100% get it. There's a reason Carpenter is a -200 favorite. This fight's going to go the distance. I don't know. It's a close fight to call. I'll pick Rocha. Plus money, big plus money. Not really much to say besides that. Yeah, I'm coming to Syracuse to find y'all after that dox. Rohan, great fucking job, dude. Now we're getting doxed. We do have connections to the Syracuse PD. So, yeah, try that and see what happens. All right, let's move on. Shout out to everybody in here. We've got 4 on the YouTube and 7 on the Twitter. We appreciate you guys very much. And if you're watching this after the live stream, which 95% of you do, we thank you as well. Let's move on. Next fight on the card. Oh my god, this this is so funny. This is the definition of a fucking Apex fight. Nico Price versus Themba the Answer Garimbo. Nico Price is washed. Themba Garimbo's this fight. Themba Garimbo is not anything special, but he's going to beat Nico Price because Nico Price got knocked out by fucking 50-year-old Robbie Lawler. Again, I'll say it again. There are certain fights that, you got to think before you break down. You don't really got to think. You have one fighter that's in his prime and you have one fighter that's completely washed, although they're only about a year difference in age, but obviously Themba Garimbo. I mixed their names up there. I mixed the first name and last name up there. He's obviously the much more primed fighter. His fucking anti-wrestling looked incredible against Brahimaj in that fight. Had that brutal knockout against Pete Rodriguez. Do I think he finishes Price? Probably not, but I think he wins this fight. It's gonna be close because every Themba Garimbo fight that goes distance is fairly close. I think Price probably wins round 3 because his cardio is insane and Garimbo kind of slows down as the fight goes on. But Garimbo's going to win this fight. Price is just washed out of his mind. It's as simple as that. He's a washed fighter. He beat Morono in his last fight, but Morono's even more fucking washed. We'll talk about Morono. Morono's fighting this. Is Morono on this card?
Yes.
We'll talk about that. Like these are just Apex fighters.
Back to back, baby. We got back to back wash. Just straight wash.
Fremd, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, Jared Gooden, CJ Vergara.
It's a prime Apex card.
Argetta, bro. Brad Tavares, Junyun Park, Grant Dawson, Rafa Garcia. You only see these motherfuckers, even in the main event, Tatsuro Taira. Like, you only see these motherfuckers in the goddamn Apex, and it pisses me the fuck off. And you're gonna see how much it pisses me off in the reel we drop at about 8 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
Nico,
agreed.
God, I've always wanted to see Excel. Who the fuck? I don't. TV television. You like the weirdest fighters. This guy, TV television. His two favorite fighters are Ignacio Bahamondes and Brian Battle. Like, you can be fit.
Bro,
You could be
those are two valid fighters, bro. I'm
right.
a big
Like,
Bahamundas guy.
how about like Conor McGregor, Ilya Topuria, Max
Nah, he's in the
Holloway?
trenches, bro. This is a real fan. What are you getting mad at the real, like a OG fan, bro? He's a fan of the real underground artist. That's what I like to hear. Bahamundes, Brian Battle, those are the underground slept on guys. Exactly. Yes, sir.
Maybe you're right. Maybe.
Anyways, let me go. Let me go. It's my turn to break this fight down.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Damn. Okay, go.
Look,
What are you gonna say that I didn't say, motherfucker?
yeah, there's not much to say, honestly. I mean, Nico Price is as washed as it gets. I'm sorry, TV television. He's not going to excel in this spot. Themba Grimbo, I could definitely see a finish. I don't know if he gets it, but like all the finishing potential is on his side. I know Nico Price is a solid grappler. He's got solid jiu-jitsu. But even on the grappling scene now, he's losing to guys. I mean, I think he fought Pat Sabatini on the grappling scene, lost to him. Oh man, I just can't. You cannot pick Nico Price in any good conscience at this stage in his career, especially after that knockout loss against 80,000-year-old Robbie Lawler. So Themba Grimbo, like you said, he's got momentum. He's still buzzing off of the being in the UFC. I feel like he's so grateful for this opportunity. Obviously, he had the backstory with The Rock and all that, but I mean, now he's kind of just finding his footing in the organization. I think he knows what he is good at now, and I think he has a plan of attack every time he goes out there. And he's the longer fighter. He's the more dangerous guy on the feet by a mile. Yeah, all he's got to do is watch the cardio. But I definitely think Themba Grimbo every round. I think he wins this fight easily. No, nothing much to say.
Yeah, there's really not anything to say outside of that. Yeah, see, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh on Nico. And I swear to God, like, if you get one more love comment, I'm gonna jump off of a fucking bridge. Like, where's my love, bro? Where's my love? Why does everybody love your dumbass and not me? What the fuck?
Nah, you get some love. You get some love. Now that you're asking for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to force it. Yeah. Give me love, motherfuckers. Now. That's why he fucks with you. Getting knocked out by a senior citizen is so crazy. Yeah, I can't believe he got knocked out by Robbie. I had a bet. I had that fight to start round 2 at like -500.
Oh my God.
In a parlay. And UFC, what was that? UFC 270. What was it, Rohan? 290, 291. That was like one of my worst betting cards of all time. And leading up to that fight, it was already at night, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll hit this parlay. That I see fucking Robbie Lawler put this dude out in like 30 seconds, and I swear to God, like, I wanted to literally end my life right there and then. But it's whatever. It's whatever. We move on. That's gambling, Rohan. That's the game you play. Sure. Shout out my boy Miles Winley in the chat. We appreciate you dropping the locks because that's all we give out here. Yeah, Nico Price sucks. Beforehand, when he was like, he had some good performances way back in the day. I think he knocked out Randy Brown on like
2019, 2018 Nico Price.
Yeah, he looked great, but nowadays the guy is complete piss shit, even though he's coming off a win. The win he's coming off is against a guy who we'll talk about fucking later, who, oh my God.
Right now. We're talking about it right now.
2 Wizards fans in the chat. Look at you guys. Yeah, Dean and Banked Eric. You guys should hit each other up. Yeah, kill yourself. You should kill yourself as well. Let's move on. Next fight on the card. Daniel. Oh, we're here.
Yeah, bro. Let's go. We got to get right into it, baby.
Here. This is the fight of the night. Thoughts on that statement, Rohan?
It's gonna be a fight for sure. That's what I gotta say about that.
The fight of the night.
It's gonna be a
The
fight
fight of the night.
on the night of the fights.
It's gonna be a fight. No, it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a fight on the night.
There we go. Fight on the night.
Fight will happen.
Exactly, bro.
This fight is gonna happen, guys. Who's excited for this? Yo, everyone in the chat right now, if you're excited for Daniel Rodriguez versus Alex Morono, put 1 in the chat. Let's see. Let's see what the chat is. I want to see a 1 in the chat if you're excited for this fight. Let's see.
We gotta get spammed.
All I'm looking at right now is kick Lou from the fucking fuck you. Okay, 1 in the chat if you're excited for this fight. Let me see. Who's excited?
Anyways, while we wait for the ones, well, let me give a quick breakdown. Let me give a quick breakdown because this is very easy. I mean, Alex Morono is just like we mentioned about Nico Price. He is very
very easy though. Is it very easy?
It's very easy. In my opinion,
they both
I don't know,
suck.
Man. They both
it's
suck.
Literally
they both suck. They both suck. They both suck. But D-Rod,
I'm raging, bro. Why is this a fight? Oh my god. Why? Why is this a fight?
I don't know. Yeah, they're both ass. But Alex Morono is just more washed than Daniel Rodriguez, I think, is the conclusion I've come to at this point. Alex Morono, I mean, the guy, it doesn't even look like he wants to win in there sometimes in these fights. I mean, he's just in there just going through the motions. It's when he gets these easy layups. I mean, even the Nico Price one you would have thought was a layup. But his last 2 wins have come against the 2 40-year-old motherfuckers that we just saw fight last week in Court McGee and Tim Means. Those are the people he's winning against. I think D-Rod is just a tier above those guys. Like, he's not. I mean, he's pushing 40 himself. He's 37 years old, and he's looked terrible in each of the last 3 fights of his. But I still think he's got enough left in the tank to beat Alex Morono, who I just think, I mean, this guy teaches MMA at a gym like basically full time. He needs to just fully transition into the next phase of his career because every time he steps out in the octagon, it's like you're just sat for one of the most boring performances you've ever seen. And it's going to be boring. That's all that is to say about this one. But I do think that D-Rod is going to win. I don't know where Lucas is. Oh, he's calling the hotline.
I timed you over 1 minute. You talked about this fight. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to hear any complaints. We're calling them right fucking now.
Yeah, I'm not betting on this fight, bro. He's calling the gambling hotline. I'm just here to deliver a breakdown of a fight to the people that are asking for a breakdown.
All right, one. No, I just shut up. I don't give a fuck. We talk about bets on this podcast, and you talked about this fight for over 1 minute.
We're not only talking bets. I'm trying to break this down.
We're calling the number.
Oh my god, this guy. We do need to kick Lou from the pod.
And we will help you with the assistance of an interpreter.
Ain't nobody got time for this, man. I got assignments, and this guy wants to call the hotline.
Alex Morono, you did this to yourself.
Don't add anything else to what I gotta say, because there's really nothing else to say, bro.
I want to kill you. All right, whatever. You're right. You know what? I'm not doing this. You're right. You know, I'm wasting your time. That's on you. The fact that just occurred, that whole sequence of the last 30 seconds and me attempting to call the gambling hotline, that's on you because you wanted to talk about fucking Daniel Rodriguez versus Alex Morono for over a minute. What are you fucking doing?
Bro, a minute ain't even that bad, bro.
I don't like. Am I going crazy, Rohan? You gotta tell me right now.
I think you are.
I
think Alex Morono, seeing Alex Morono and the Apex
next to Nico that I love is going to shit. The sport that I love is going to shit, Rohan. I'm sick and tired of talking about these motherfucking Apex cards, bro. I'm sick and tired of it. I don't give a fuck. I'm sick and fucking tired of it. I'm done. What is this? Why is he in the UFC, bro? Why?
Hey,
why?
Man. Justified crash out. I can't even get mad. Justified.
I'm burning, Rohan. I feel hot. My body feels hot. I'm looking at Alex Morono's retarded Illuminati
tattoo. When you're sitting there just with a blank face.
What is that tattoo? What is that fucking dumbass fucking tattoo? What is that? What is it?
Oh my god.
And then we got Dean, just like
the Great White, baby. Look at that nickname, the Great White.
I don't know what's worse, the fucking Apex or the current state of the Washington Wizards. Dean, talk to me, Dean. What's worse, Dean? You motherfucker. What's worse? I'm gonna jump off a bridge if I have to watch another one of these fights. Holy shit. Next fucking fight. Next fight. I'm not reading any of the other comments. I don't give a shit. And another one. Why is this a fight in the UFC? Rohan, I'm so sorry. You're probably looking at me like, damn, I'm really doing a podcast with this fucking idiot. I'm sorry, Rohan. I'm done. I'm done. I missed 2019 when I fell in love with this goddamn fucking sport. I might end this live stream right now, bro, because let's look at the rest of this fucking card, Rohan. What else do we got coming up? Oh, who's ready for fucking Grant Dawson and Rafa Garcia? Oh, what are we going to talk about with that one? Oh, who's got the better wrestling? Whoa, that's going to be a fun fight. Oh, I know you got exams, motherfucker. You want me to shut up, don't you? I don't give a fuck. Look at what's in front of me right now. Josh Fremd lost a decision to Andre bum-ass fucking Petrosky in his last fight. And now we have to talk about him in another UFC fight. Why, Rohan? Tell me why.
The UFC just doesn't know. I don't know. They got to meet some quota or something. They need these guys on the roster. There's no other explanation. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but because Josh Fremd is not a UFC fighter. But
so, what's your prediction, Rohan, for this fight? Tell me. Talk to me,
Rohan. The other way. I'm going with Abdul Razak.
Me too. I'm going with Abdul, the guy who lost to a fucking decision, got outskilled by Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bad fight. Look, but Joe Pyfer isn't the worst loss. Getting subbed by Joe Pyfer is a bad loss. But
yeah, I'm kind of half trolling. I think Abdul is probably UFC caliber. I do think he kills Fremd though. I don't know how the fuck Fremd is in the UFC. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, this is one of those fights I do think that Abdul it favors him, and not many fights favor him because he has a pretty generic style. He's a big burly guy, but Fremd is not. He's just very passive in there. It's the only way I can put it. Like he's got some moments where he does good, and that's really all he has. I mean, look at his last losses. Petrosky got destroyed in the later rounds, even by Petrosky. That's embarrassing. And then the Kopylov lost easy liver shot. Found that. I mean, he lost to Tresean Gore. When's the last time we've heard that name? I mean, come on now. Yeah. So I think Abdul was.
Oh my god! I'm gonna start fucking crying. I'm gonna start crying.
You
know what you just reminded me of, Rohan? You want to know what you just reminded me of, Rohan? You goddamn motherfucker. That Antonio Trocoli versus Tresean Gore is a fight. And you don't want to know where that fight's taking place?
That's happening?
You know where it's taking place?
In the
Where's that fight? Oh, how'd you fucking know? How'd you know?
I knew. I guessed it.
You want to know what came out about Antonio Trocoli, the guy who's the worst fighter in the UFC today?
Yeah.
He assaulted somebody a few days ago.
Oh my
Mackenzie
God.
Dern's ex-husband, he assaulted, and he's still in the UFC.
Jesus Christ.
Half of these fighters in the UFC are abusers, and half of them are complete dog shit. What happened to the sport?
He got arrested. Like, damn, this is today.
Read the article, bro. It's actually insane. Read the article.
Holy
Antonio
shit.
Trocoli, you are a piece of shit. I don't care if you could beat my ass. You are a piece of shit. And I don't know how we got from Josh Fremd versus Abdul Razak. Oh yeah, Tresean Gore. Shout out to Tresean Gore. I think he's all right. But yeah, Trocoli, I don't know how he's in the UFC. Rohan, I apologize. I just want to apologize, bro. You know, I'm just going crazy, Rohan. Like,
it's all good. Justified, like I said.
I don't like. Are you outside of me crashing out? I know you get some entertainment from it, but like when we sit here breaking down goddamn motherfucking. Literally, I'm gonna ban you from the fucking chat. Okay, I'm gonna ban you. Banked Eric Nelson. I will ban you from the chat. If you say one more sarcastic fucking comment, you will be banned. Rohan, do you have like? I want you to be honest with me right now. All right, for men, pretend like people won't see this. Am I going crazy, Rohan? Like, are you having fun breaking down Alex Morono versus like? Do you enjoy this?
Well, no, that it feels more like work when you got to talk about Alex Morono fighting. I won't lie, but when you get to the main event, like it's kind of like a build, like a climax. We're reaching the climax. Brandon Royval, Taira. I have a lot of fun breaking down that fight. It's a great fight, but the rest of the card, I mean, like you said, the Apex, they just don't even try. So why should we try? But at the same time, we're here to give the people the best breakdowns possible. So that's why I try. But it is tough. It's tough. I get what you're saying. I get the frustration, brother.
Makes me want to cry. Honestly, that was perfectly said. That was literally perfect. Like, they don't try, so why should, bro? Honestly, like I feel like crying right now. Like, that
Exactly,
was
bro.
really like you literally took how I feel and you ripped it out of me. Like that's exactly how I
I
feel.
feel you, dog.
They don't fucking try. So why should we try? Do you see my eyes? Like I'm not joking. Like I'm low-key watering up. They
Oh man,
don't fucking
I-
try. So why should that was perfect. Why should we try? I don't want to do this.
Hey, we
Why?
only got like four more fights to get through. It's not that
Why should I sit here and break down Chidi and Jokwani versus Jared Gordon? Go ahead, Rohan. Give me a prediction.
prediction, Chidi and Jokwani. That's all I really got. I mean, if you look at the tape, he's better. He's a better fighter. He's got some bad losses. Don't get me wrong. Chidi and Joku's got some bad losses on his record, but he's longer. He's better on the feet everywhere. I think he's got better kicks, better punches. He puts his combinations together better. And if he's gonna try to get the fight to the ground, I think obviously Gooden's gonna pressure him. He's gonna look to wrestle, but Chidi's a little dangerous on the ground off of his back. He's got some submissions on his record. I think he's the safer pick. Gooden's tough. He's hits hard. He looks like a fucking NFL linebacker, but I think that Chidi and Jokwani, he's a better fighter, so I will pick him.
You know, I actually had a pretty big bet on Kevin Doucet against Jared Gordon, but then someone pulled out of that fight. I think it was Gordon.
I saw
Yeah, Gordon, another fighter that does not belong in the UFC. Just because he beat Wellington Turman, who also doesn't belong in the UFC, one of the skinniest fighters in the UFC. The guy got knocked out by fucking Andrew Sanchez, I believe it was, who's now in the fucking PFL, losing. Yeah, I mean, I love Chidi. Chidi brings a war every time, besides that Reese McKee fight in which I was at. That fight was horrible. But Olajaychik, insane fight. Duraev, that was a whatever fight. But that Rodriguez fight, you remember this fight, Roman? That was a pretty sick fight. I just don't know. Like, I really don't know. Like, Chidi looks
he's scary. He's scary. It's scary to pick Chidi. I'll definitely.
He's getting older and older, and every fight he's looked worse. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think Gooden's bad. I just think he's a bad fighter.
I get it. Yeah, I've lost the energy to rage. Maybe it'll build back up when we get to the fucking co-main event. Jun Young Park versus Brad Tavares. Oh, I'm feeling it already. You'll probably hear some more rage in about 15 minutes. But for now, like I don't even know, bro. Like I love doing this. I love doing Counterpunch Pod. Rohan, I'm not gonna lie, I had no plans on crashing out on stream. Zero fucking plans. But I go over these fights one by one. It's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, these are bad. These are bad.
And what you'll hear from my short in the morning is like the UFC has gotten so fucking lazy. So lazy. Like they used to go from city to city every single card. And now COVID's over. Why are we still here? You want to know why? Because they're fucking lazy. They're too comfortable. Dana and his fucking employees, all they have to do is walk 5 minutes to get from job to job, to get from job site to job site. That's all they have to do. It's the easiest thing in the world, and it's bullshit. They're comfortable while the fans are sitting here having to watch the same old fucking recycled Jared Gooden fight over and over again. It's bullshit, but whatever. I've already crashed out for the last 20 minutes, so we'll move on to the next fight. And then I see fucking Rafa Garcia still in the UFC, and I'm like, maybe I kind of want to crash out again, but maybe not. Grant Dawson's going to win this fight. Like, look at the line. Rafa Garcia is not good. I mean, yeah, he's had a few good wins in the UFC, but like he beat Clay Guida. The only reason Clay Guida is still in the UFC is because Clay Guida is a legend. He's put on some incredible fights, but those incredible fights took place 15 fucking years ago. Now, he's not that good. He beat Mahashate. That's an all right win. I mean, Mahashate is whatever. Lost to Drakkar Close. I'm not gonna fucking get mad at him about that. Drakkar Close is not a bad fighter whatsoever. Beat Jesse Ronson by submission. Beat Natan Levy by decision. Natan Levy's horrible. Grant Dawson, his only loss in the UFC is to Bobby Green. Is that wrong? Is that his only loss in the UFC?
Yeah, bro, and it's insane still.
He got knocked out again. Speaking of Apex Warriors, that was the definition of an Apex main event. Bobby Green touching Grant Dawson with a jab, and Grant Dawson going out. What the fuck is that? I don't know. I mean, if Rafa Garcia had striking, maybe I'd be picking him to touch Dawson in the chin, and Dawson just dies. But Dawson, I mean, Garcia is not a striker, and this is going to be a grappling match, and Garcia is not good, in my opinion. And Dawson, outside of his chin, is all right. So, yeah, hence the line. I'll pick Dawson here. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to add here. Garcia, he just doesn't have the wrestling to deal with Dawson. Dawson is good. Like, I know that Bobby Green loss looks bad, but he's a really good wrestler and he's a really good fighter in general because he's able to put the wrestling together behind some decent striking. And I think, yeah, he'll be able to close distance easily against Garcia, get inside, work the clinch, get him against the fence, wear on him, and probably get to his back and submit him. That's my prediction.
Is it sad that I care more about the hurricane going on than this UFC card? Like, I'd literally rather watch this fucking update about the hurricane. Like, I may be watching the news over UFC prelims on fucking Saturday.
Yeah,
is that crazy?
Man, we're gonna have to get through this one. I mean, this is just not gonna be a fun card. But I mean, yeah, that the third fight from the top, Grant Dawson easily will win that one. If he loses, that would just be a real big cause for concern because there's no way he should be losing to Rafa Garcia, who, like you said, is borderline on his way out of the UFC.
And what's worse is we have the same fucking thing next weekend. Like, we have Alice Ardalian taking on Melissa Martinez. The definition of an Apex fight: Jocelyn Edwards versus.
Oh man,
yo, I know you're gonna be watching this one though. Don't say, oh man, you're gonna be watching.
Jocelyn is my girl. I gotta tune in for Jocelyn.
Katona Matsuma. I mean, just like Penne, Elise Reed, Despain. That's actually Despain always brings something. Okay, actually, not a lot of horrible fights.
It's not terrible, actually. Next week,
this card is actually not that bad. This card's not that bad.
No.
But man, this card is fucking piss shit.
Listen, this co-main event is ass.
Oh, God. Like they want me to crash out. They want me to.
But
like,
this already got scheduled, so we've done because I was looking at it, I was like, oh my God, I've talked about this. Why is it back? But it's back.
I don't know, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's back. This is the second time this has been scheduled between Brad and Jun Young Park. And my stance on it really hasn't changed much. I'm still going with the slight favorite. Slight favorite in Jun Young Park. That was my pick originally. Brad Tavares is better technically than Jun Young Park. But Brad Tavares' career arc has just taken such a dark turn. I mean, he had that real bad head kick loss to Edmund Shabazian like years and years ago. It looked like he was cleaning his act together, obviously beat Omari Akhmadov, but then lost to Duplessis, lost to Bruno Silva in a fight that he probably shouldn't have lost. Beat Chris Weidman. I mean, that is the worst win you could possibly have in that division. Chris Weidman was, coming off of a broken leg, whatever. And then he lost to Gregory Rodriguez, got knocked out. That's the second time in the last 3 fights. So, yeah, Jun Young Park has the power. He's got the size to really bother Brad Tavares. Can he finish him? I don't know. But I just trust Jun Young Park a little bit more here because Brad Tavares hasn't really shown me much. Jun Young Park, obviously, not too many impressive wins on his resume. Did lose his last fight to Andre Muniz, which, I mean, that's not the great look. But I don't know. Yeah, his wins are kind of all coming, kind of the same way. Rear naked choke in his last 3 wins. Not over the best competition either. But I just think that Brad Tavares, man, I'm really scared to pick him at this stage in his career. His durability is really low. He doesn't really grapple at all. He doesn't have a great fight IQ. Like, you think he could be mixing up better than he does, but he just kind of just sits there. He's very passive. He lets his opponents walk him down. And I think Park will eventually take over in the 3rd round. I think that's where he'll start to do more damage. And it's going to be a close fight, ugly fight, but I'm going to pick Park. I don't know. I could see it being a complete wash the other way, but I don't know. This is an ass fight. You go. And I feel like the odds might have changed since the last time. I don't know.
Yeah, Park's a little bit wider. I mean, I'll be the first one to admit my mistakes. I had a pretty big bet on Park the first time this fight was scheduled at his favorite line. But the more I watch Park, I'm actually gonna take Tavares. Kind of crazy, but I'm gonna take Tavares. I know the line is moving in favor of Park, and this is a very, very close fight, considering I don't think Park is as good as advertised, and Tavares is out of his prime. But I do feel like, yeah, I mean, you look at, yeah, Park was on a fucking good ass winning streak, but who was he beating? Daraev sucks. Talunian sucks. Joseph Holmes is one of the worst fighters in UFC history. Eric Anders, he barely beat. I mean, Tavares, I mean, I'd be picking Jun Young Park here if he had a little bit of power, but he really doesn't. Yeah, Tavares is old though, which is why it's hard for me to sit here with conviction and pick him. But it's such a close fight. Actually, I may have to side with Jun Young Park just because Tavares is so.
The thing for me, I don't know, and I don't want to interrupt, but I just think that Brad Tavares, like in UFC years, obviously the age might not be that bad, but just the damage and the wear and tear that Tavares has taken throughout his UFC career, I just think it's a little bit too much. It gets to a point where it starts to add up, and we're starting to see that. Like Chris Weidman, that shit was whatever. I don't even see that W on his record, and it's just like I think Park has enough on the ground, especially because that's where he could really gain separation. Is if Tavares' cardio is kind of failing him in the third round, and Park is still fresh enough to implement the wrestling, that's where he could, do his little signature rear naked choke and probably score a finish that way. But yeah, like you said, the wins haven't come against great competition. The power isn't really the scariest, but Tavares, man, it's just his career path is just taken such a downward spiral. I just can't see him really pulling himself out of the rut. But I don't know. It's a close fight. It's a close fight.
Yeah, it's a close fight. Yeah, I guess I'll pick Jun Young Park. But again, I don't feel like people after that Daria fight, people were saying this guy's a future contender. Who is he beat? Absolutely fucking nobody. I'm gonna pick him to win, but the odds I disagree with. He shouldn't be close to -200. That makes no sense. Okay. Finally. I've reached the fucking like treasure chest and the blue treasure chest in Fortnite. Like I'm here. I got that red bag in Tennis Clash. Like it just feels like we reached the moment. Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. Straightforward here. I'm gonna go Tatsuro Taira by submission. I feel like Royval is too comfortable putting himself in awkward spots on the ground. And I feel like Taira shines in those positions. Taira is one of the best submission artists in the entire UFC right now. And if Royval will give this guy options, Royval scrambles. I mean, he scrambles big time. And yeah, as long as Taira's smart enough to mix in the grappling, I feel like on the feet, Royval will probably outstrike him. But as long as Taira fights a smart game plan and mixes in the wrestling, the submission opportunities, as soon as he even clinches him standing, they'll appear like that. They're going to appear like that in a snap of a finger. Yeah, I think Taira submits this guy within the first 3 rounds, and I'm really confident in that. It's one of my strongest reads on the card, in my opinion. Taira right now is money line's almost -300. Jesus Christ, it's jumped like a motherfucker. Taira by submission. Yeah, it's +135. Yeah, it makes sense. Taira, I think he submits him early because as soon as he initiates that clinch or gets him down, Royval leaves so many openings, and he relies on his flexibility. But I feel like Royval is a little bit more fragile than people realize. I mean, you look at that first Moreno fight, he popped his shoulder out, and that was from one grappling exchange. And you look at what Taira did to his last opponent. He forced Perez to blow his knee out due to an awkward takedown. I mean, Taira's going to submit this guy, and I'm very confident in it. What do you got, Rohan?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you look at Tatsuro Taira's last fight, Alex Perez. I think the line closed around like -225, 250 for Taira, and he looked -1000 in there. He just absolutely looked on a different level, and we saw it by the finish. Just the way he systematically broke Perez down, got to his back in such an unorthodox way, but in the middle of the octagon and just kicked his leg out, blew out his knee. Obviously, it was an unfortunate thing, but the way Taira did it was very calculated. And you could
caused it 100%.
Yeah, yep. I mean, you could see the intent was there. So just that, I mean, that sequence, watching that, it put it in my mind. I'm like, this guy is a future champion. And I can't really get that out of my mind, that thought. Yep. And I like Brandon Royval. I love Brandon Royval even. He's one of the most entertaining fighters in the last half decade that the UFC is better because of Brandon Royval. But you look at the guy's resume, the Kai Kara France one, good win. He could have lost that. He got there was a scare in that fight. He got caught with I think it was like a spinning elbow or a knee or something like that, and he survived it and came back. But then lost to Brandon Moreno, another, like you said, the shoulder injury. Lost to Pantoja, the same thing, that the rear naked choke, because he's very prone to giving up his back. Bontarine split decision. That's not a great look. Match Snell, easy win. Nicolau, easy win. Lost again to Pantoja. And then another split decision. There's a lot of volatility on his record. You could see a lot of those decisions going the other way. I think there's the chance that fans are a little bit too used to seeing Royval in these high pressure moments that they forget he is just a little all over the place, man. He's a really wild fighter in there, and Tatsuro Taira is so clean. He's so well versed. Just his striking is coming along. I think his grappling is still a little, it's clearly better, but his striking is improving, and I think it's going to be another opportunity for him to show that against somebody like Royval, who leaves so many openings. The wrestling is going to be there for him to go to. He's going to be able to get to the back damn near at will, because Royval's like instinct is to always turn around whenever he gets in the clinch situation. It makes no sense. But I think Tatsuro Taira jumps on that, and I think, like you said, first 3 rounds, maybe even first 2 rounds, like, he gets it done. I think it's a complete one-way traffic here. Tatsuro Taira all day. Like I said, future champ, man. This guy he's the real deal. He's the real deal. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, a lot of people would disagree with you and say that Perez was actually putting up a fight in their fight, but I agree with what you said. Yeah, it may have kind of looked close, but Taira was systematically breaking him down with the jab, and as soon as he put that grappling in effect, it ended just like that within seconds. It was a perfect game plan from Taira. You know, a lot
And
of
people
people
were wondering whether the wrestling would work against Perez, who they were saying had decent takedown defense, and Royval does not have takedown defense.
And it wasn't even the wrestling though; it was the grappling.
Yeah, you're right.
He didn't even have to take him down. I mean, he just grabbed him, and it was over. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who haven't fought like you, Rohan, you absolute monster, won't understand that was a systematical breakdown from Taira. It was a perfect game plan, and yeah, I think this guy beats Alexandre Pantoja today. But that's something we'll get into in a different video, I guess. But yeah, I'm with you. I think Taira submits Brandon Royval as soon as the clinch is initiated. This guy's special when it comes to the clinch and to the ground. And I think he wins by finish. And yeah, that's all we got. What an interesting podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
It was interesting. I mean, we gotta make it interesting. When the fights are this bad, you gotta spice it up. I appreciated your crash out. I think it was, like I said, I think it was justified. I think you spoke the truth of a lot of people. We are tired of seeing these Apex cards. They need to go away. But we still did our best, and we broke the card down. We got through it. That's all. We did our job.
I can't believe it. It's been an hour and 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to apologize to you.
No, all good.
That was honestly, like, I'm sitting here on my bed and I'm pretty stressed out right now. I got a lot of things going on, school to, whatever, to counterpunch. But it's just like, I feel like, this is midterms week, right? I feel like at the end of midterms week, I should be rewarded with a great card.
Yeah.
Here I am having to watch a UFC Apex 98. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean. Dean, you never answered my question. What's worse, UFC Vegas 98 or the state of the Wizards? Answer the question. We sign off. I need to hear from you, Dean. Let us know. What do you think, Ron? What do you think, Dan? You're a big basketball guy.
I mean, I hear a lot of Wizards, updates just all the time. But look, I think that the state of the UFC, it's in the place right now where we need some excitement. I don't know if the Wizards, but we still have excitement. Like, we have excitement. We got Max Holloway and Ilya coming up. We got Hamza to look forward to. I don't know.
Why do we have to wait every month for something like that? Like, back in the day, we used to be in fully packed arenas, seeing sick fucking cards, bro. Every time.
I know. It sucks.
Okay, we got an answer from Ian. The Wizards are worse. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't know what the Wizards are looking forward to. They're gonna have a good time. That's it.
Yeah.
They're gonna have some fun this year. Trying to lose. Hey, it's what are they calling it? There's like something tank for flag. They came up with some slogan. I forgot.
Tank and Flag. Oh, Cooper Flag. You know,
Yeah,
I actually just saw something on Instagram, and I don't want to forget. So I'm just going to tell you on the stream, although it has to do with basketball. Bro, I forgot DeMar DeRozan was on the Kings. I completely
bro. It's not going to make a difference because the West is so stacked
yeah,
and they don't have any defense, but it's a cool signing, I guess.
yeah. I thought I banned you. Can I ban this guy?
Hey, man, we got to figure that out.
Every single stream, this guy banked Eric Nelson is here and literally never says anything of substance. How do I?
Yeah, bro, we got to get him out of here.
He's in timeout. I put him in timeout. Try commenting, bitch. Yeah, that's right. Say one more stupid thing. See what happens. You're banned. That's all we got, folks. UFC Vegas 98. That's all we have to say. Rohan, any final words for the people?
Do your best to enjoy this card. And look forward to the next one. That's it. That's all I got.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have. UFC Vegas 99 will actually be much better. We were just looking at the card. It's actually some solid fights.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Hey, you didn't forget it. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, you know, as soon as you were talking, I thought in my head of Rohan yelling about me about forgetting the outros. Had to remember.
We got it.
That's all we got, folks. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you dearly. Good night, Dean. Adios, everybody. We'll see you soon. All of our links are in the description of this video. Go check it out. But for now, it's been Lucas and Rohan signing off.
Peace.